Have you noticed how Nigeria's political conversation seems to be getting more intense as the 2027 election draws closer? Every major statement from political leaders is now being closely watched, analyzed, and debated across the country. And once again, former Anambra State Governor and presidential candidate Peter Obi has found himself at the center of another heated political discussion after issuing strong criticisms of President Bola Tinubu's administration, while leaders within the Nigeria Democratic Congress, popularly known as the NDC, also raised fresh concerns about the direction of the current government. Whether you agree with them or not, one thing is certain. These comments have reignited conversations about leadership, the economy, and the future of Nigeria. As political temperatures continue to rise, many Nigerians are asking one important question. Are these criticisms simply part of normal opposition politics, or are they highlighting genuine concerns that deserve national attention? Today, we'll carefully look at what Peter Obi said, what NDC leaders have been saying, how the presidency and supporters of President Tinubu have responded, and why all of this matters to ordinary Nigerians. Before we continue, if you enjoy balanced and informative discussions about Nigerian politics without unnecessary sensationalism, take a moment to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with others who want to stay informed. Also, drop your thoughts in the comment section because respectful discussions help everyone understand different perspectives. Peter Obi has remained one of the country's most vocal opposition figures since the 2023 general election. Over the past several months, he has consistently expressed concerns about Nigeria's economic challenges, rising cost of living, insecurity, government spending, and public accountability. Reports indicate that his latest remarks were among his strongest yet, as he urged Nigerians to pay closer attention to governance and accountability while questioning several policy directions taken by the current administration. According to reports circulating in recent days, Obi argued that government must place greater emphasis on improving the daily lives of citizens rather than focusing mainly on political calculations. He maintained that leadership should always prioritize security, economic stability, job creation, healthcare, education, and transparent management of public resources. Those familiar with his political style will recognize that these themes have remained consistent throughout his public engagements over the years. One statement that generated widespread attention was his warning that governments should not ignore the frustrations many Nigerians continue to express regarding inflation, unemployment, and the increasing cost of basic necessities. Obi suggested that when citizens consistently voice economic concerns, leaders should respond through practical solutions instead of political arguments. Supporters viewed this as a direct challenge to the current administration's performance, while critics argued that opposition politicians naturally focus on highlighting government shortcomings. At nearly the same time, several leaders within the Nigeria Democratic Congress also intensified their criticisms of President Tinubu's administration. Since Peter Obi emerged as the NDC presidential candidate, after political realignments within the opposition, party leaders have repeatedly argued that Nigerians deserve what they describe as a more accountable and people-focused government ahead of the 2027 election. The NDC leadership has raised concerns over economic hardship affecting many households. They pointed to issues such as inflation, purchasing power, unemployment, and the financial pressures facing families and businesses. According to them, these concerns should remain at the center of national conversations as political campaigns gradually begin to take shape. It is important to understand that criticism from opposition parties is a normal feature of democratic systems. Opposition leaders are expected to question government decisions, present alternative ideas, and convince voters that they can perform better if elected. Likewise, the government has the responsibility to defend its policies and explain why it believes its decisions are in the country's best interest. Supporters of President Tinubu argue that many of the difficult economic reforms currently being implemented were necessary to stabilize Nigeria's economy after years of structural challenges. They say some of these reforms have been painful in the short term but are intended to produce stronger long-term economic benefits. The presidency has also defended several of its policy decisions while rejecting claims that the administration has ignored the needs of ordinary Nigerians. This back and forth between the government and the opposition has become one of the defining features of Nigeria's political landscape today. Every major speech, interview, or public appearance quickly generates reactions from both supporters and critics, often dominating discussions across television, radio, newspapers, and social media. One reason Peter Obi's comments continue to attract significant attention is because of the large following he built during the 2023 presidential election. His campaign energized many young Nigerians and independent voters who believed that his message represented a different style of leadership. Even after that election, many supporters have remained politically active and continue to closely monitor his statements. Political analysts say this explains why even routine remarks from Obi often receive nationwide attention. His supporters view him as a consistent advocate for accountability, while his opponents frequently argue that he oversimplifies complex national challenges. The current political environment has also become more competitive because opposition parties are repositioning themselves ahead of the next general election. After several coalition efforts experienced internal disagreements, Peter Obi eventually secured the NDC presidential nomination, while other opposition leaders pursued different political paths. That development has reshaped Nigeria's opposition landscape and created fresh political calculations for every major party. For many ordinary Nigerians, however, political debates often come down to a much simpler question: will daily life become easier? People are concerned about food prices, transportation costs, electricity, healthcare, employment opportunities, and business conditions. These practical issues often matter far more than political exchanges. That is why every statement from both government officials and opposition leaders is now being judged against the realities Nigerians experience each day. Citizens want explanations, but they also want measurable improvements in their daily lives. Another interesting aspect of this debate is how both sides frame their arguments. Opposition leaders generally emphasize accountability, transparency, and the need for policy changes. Government supporters emphasize reforms, long-term planning, and the challenges inherited by the current administration. Both perspectives compete for public attention, especially as political campaigns slowly begin to gather momentum. As expected, social media reactions have been sharply divided. Supporters of Peter Obi praised what they described as courageous criticism of government performance, while supporters of President Tinubu argued that opposition figures often overlook achievements made by the administration and focus only on areas of difficulty. That polarization reflects the broader political divisions that continue to shape public discourse in Nigeria. Regardless of political affiliation, one fact remains important. Democracy functions best when citizens have access to different viewpoints, verify information carefully, and evaluate policies based on evidence rather than emotion. Healthy political competition should ultimately encourage better governance and stronger public accountability. As this political season continues to unfold, Nigerians can expect more speeches, interviews, policy proposals, and public debates from all major political actors. Each side will continue trying to convince voters that it offers the better path for the country's future. If you found this analysis useful, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and share it with friends and family so they can also stay informed. Most importantly, let us know your opinion in the comments. Do you believe the current administration is on the right path despite today's economic difficulties, or do you think the opposition has raised concerns that deserve greater attention? As always, keep the conversation respectful because different opinions are part of every healthy democracy. Thank you so much for watching. Stay informed, stay engaged, verify information before sharing it, and we'll continue bringing you balanced updates on the stories shaping Nigeria's political future.